Republican Congressman Greg Murphy, who represents our state's 3rd District, and is here now in the Triangle joining us. It's good to see you. Welcome back to the show.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Going to do some things around the Triangle?
Yeah, we went, since I'm really the only, quote, science person of the delegation, I've been going around with some of the universities talking about NIH funding and talking about some of the challenges that we're facing these days. So
there's some reports out about Duke maybe making cuts, and ask, what was your message to them?
Yeah, no, I literally just came from Duke. Good conversations with them. I have to pull back and I have to give them a picture of why. Why is all this doing? We are close to $38 trillion in debt, and we are hurtling towards a sovereign debt crisis. And if we do not change the trajectory of our spending, we're going to have really, make 1929 will look like a spring day. We spent $7 trillion last year. We raised $5 trillion, and say raising taxes is not the end all. If you kill progress, if you kill productivity, if you kill growth. So, it's a time of reckoning and accountability. We've not done that in this country ever in our history. And to save the state of our nation, accountability is key.
So you are a doctor, though. And you know how research goes, and some of these have to start over, or it takes a while, it takes a lot of money. I mean, what do you think about that part of it in particular?
Does it
worry
hard.
you?
It does. Look, I'm a scientist at heart. This is what I've devoted my life to. It is hard. But we've had an open pocketbook for a long, long time, and without accountability of where those dollars come. You pay taxes, I pay taxes, all of our listeners pay taxes. And we have to make sure that what we're doing, what we're spending our tax dollars on, is the correct thing. And look, I want wonderful, great research to happen. We lead the world in this. I look at the advances that we've made in the last 10 years, the last decade, in cancer research. Wonderful, wonderful things. But at some point, we can't pay for everything for everybody. And so we just have to have an accounting, and that's what we're doing.
So how do you think we move forward with that cancer research and all that? I mean, I'm sure the questions they have at Duke. And
Sure. And I had a great conversation. Now I know the heads of all the different agencies, the head of NIH, the head of the CDC, and some of the other things, and I have frank conversations with them. Had a great conversation with Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, who's at the NIH. I won't get into, but there was some political shenanigans with the changeover of administrations that set the NIH funding back for a while. He assured me, or gave me the hope, that things would be fixed by the end of May and we would get back to the regular business. Not everything can be funded, and I think people have to realize that. That's always been the case. But good research, good engineering, good things that are beneficial to the country and to the world, for that matter, will be funded.
You represent the coast. Obviously, the port's really important in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Tariff and trade is a huge conversation.
Sure.
What do we know about how this all may or may not impact our
ports? I think it's important. And Tim, I try to study things if I don't know anything about it. I've been a surgeon all my life, and learning about trade. I'm on the trade subcommittee for Ways and Means. If you look, there's a very good graph of which we could show our listeners that shows that our trade deficit. We've become a country that is a service economy and a government employment economy. Yes, we make a few things, but our trade deficit in manufacturing is plummeting. And if there were some bright spots, there were some silver linings that we had during the pandemic, but it showed our extreme vulnerability, sometimes to countries that don't want to see us exist in terms of manufacturing, in terms of pharmaceuticals. And you can change policy one of two ways to try to bring things back. You can do it militarily, or you can do it economically. Nobody wants anything done military, not by any means. And so the president is using the big stick of tariffs to try to bring manufacturing back to this country. We have to do this for our own viability. Statistics show, and I think it's the last decade, I think that we've made 6 ships, 6 naval vessels. We've decommissioned 15. China, at the same time, has built 1,400. And so the pendulum swing, and I think the president, he's a negotiator. He started out way extreme this way. We're going to work back towards negotiating towards a much better middle ground, which will be much, much better for the United States.
Though that's depending on that happening, right? The deals.
Sure.
The deals have to get done. I mean, did it have to be such a huge shock to the system, or do you think that's how we get there?
That's kind of how the president works. That's how negotiators work. The good thing is, I was in the White House about 3.5 weeks ago, and at that point, literally a week and a half after the tariffs had begun, 75 nations had already come forward. A lot of them had said, "You're right. We've been protectionist," and this really started after World War II. We're going to come to the table. We want America to succeed. We want us all to succeed. So there are negotiations going on, including China right now, to try to fix the whole tariff debacle. If America knew how badly we were being treated worldwide, I think they'd be a lot more sympathetic to what the president's doing.
The military is obviously important to your districts as well. There's been a big switch over there as well, and lots of discussions about it. How are the bases doing with the change, and where do you see that moving?
Yeah, you know, we had a big decline, and I think one of the issues I had with the last administration is our military became political and field of medicine became political. Two things that should have no politics in them. Yes, you have to do what the commander-in-chief says. Medicine should not be political. It became so political, and I blame some of the people in medicine for allowing that to happen. You know, our military is getting back to its primary goal, our primary reason for existing, and that's protecting the United States and as well as our interest abroad. And that means if we have to take out the enemy, then so be it. It's important that they are mission ready, that they are ready and training is up to par, and really understanding where the enemy has been or where the enemy is going. I'll give you an example. Ukraine, for example, we've seen how $20 drones can change the entire war field and the landscape of that. I had a great meeting with our Marines out at the coast this past weekend, dealing with how drones are going to be into our future military armamentarium. There's a lot of moving structures going on right now. We have to be prepared as a nation.
Yeah, that's been one of the big discussions, the drones and whatnot with the military, especially with this. So it's going to be good to see. I know you've been busy going around. I'm sure you want to get back to the coast too, but we appreciate your time. It's so good to see you.
Great. Thank you so much, Tim.
Look forward to seeing you again soon.